Are you stuck in a doom loop that is systematically killing your online business? Watch this video to find out. Before we start with this video, if you like videos about online entrepreneurship, about online business, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, get notified every time I drop a new video. There's a new one goes out every week where I'm giving out information about online businesses, giving you updates about my own online business and affiliate marketing that I'm building at the moment. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and get notified. There's also links in the description to my Facebook group and also to my website. So make sure you jump onto those if you want more content like this. Now, let's get on with the video. Now, if you're a bit of a business nerd or business model nerd like I am, you like geeking out on that sort of stuff, that's my corporate background. I spent a lot of time working in different businesses and business models. You would probably have come across a guy called Jim Collins. Now, he's responsible for some of the classic books in this area. Good to Great, you might have heard of. Built to Last is another one. They are 20 years old now, 15, 20 years old, but are classics in the genre. And just recently, on the recommendation of a mentor, I was looking at one of his more recent books, a very, very short one called Turning the Flywheel. Now, very, very briefly, the idea behind Turning the Flywheel is that you can look at your business as a self-sustaining set of events or activities that mutually support each other and drive your business forward, give you momentum. It's a really powerful idea, a really powerful way of thinking about your business. I'm not going to go into it today. That might be a concept for another time or a topic for another time. But it's a really, really powerful and fascinating way to think about your business. And the fact is that the vast majority or a lot of really, really successful businesses, you can look at it through this flywheel lens and see how those businesses build momentum, they build on their own success, and they really take it forward and really achieve huge success. So that's very quickly what a flywheel is. As I said, I'm not going to talk about it now. I want to talk about something else that Collins mentioned in that book. And Max, good morning, mate. Welcome. Good to see you. I want to talk about something else he talked about in that book, and that is a doom loop. So I'm going to quickly read just 2 sentences from the book, which will explain exactly what I'm talking about. So he says, when caught in the doom loop, companies react to disappointing results without discipline. Grasping for a new savior, program, fad, event, or direction, only to experience more disappointment, then they react without discipline again, leading to even more disappointment. Now, for those of you who have been around in this online business world for a little while, that may sound sort of familiar. It's like shiny object syndrome. You're looking for the all-inclusive, everything done for you answer. It doesn't work. You're disappointed, so you flail around and grasp for something else. The point is, though, that successful companies, they have a good flywheel, they understand their flywheel, and when they want to scale or when things get difficult or they're in crisis or whatever, they back in what they know, back in their business model. They might change if they need to, but they back in a proven business model that works for them, and they succeed often. Unsuccessful companies grasp for a savior, they do it repeatedly, and they get stuck in this loop of continually looking for the shiny object answer and trying to solve their problems, and they get nowhere. And that is what he calls the doom loop. So applying that to us, Collins, when he writes, he talks about big companies. He uses Amazon and Intel and those sort of companies as examples. Good morning, welcome. I can't actually see who that is because I don't think you've accepted the eCam link, but welcome, whoever you are. Good to have you on board. So yes, I was talking about how does the concept of a doom loop apply to solopreneurs, small businesses, people like us. Because Collins talks about big companies, Intel, Amazon, those sort of organizations. But it applies very, very much to us because it's very, very similar, as I said before, to shiny object syndrome. And I know because I've been there. I've bought into secret underground systems and viral businesses in a box and thinking that could be the answer to being able to create a sustainable, long-term, successful business online. And the fact is it's not. It's actually a doom loop because those things rarely, if ever, work. And you end up wasting a whole lot of time, a whole lot of money, and before you know it, you have washed out the other end, you're disappointed, you're bitter, you're broke, and you haven't succeeded in achieving your online dreams. And that happens to a lot of people. Personally, I was lucky in that I managed to pull myself out of that loop before it became terminal. Before I got to the point where I ran out of money and I ran out of ambition and I ran out of time. I eventually learned that instead of continually looking for the next all-inclusive answer, the next big, shiny, secret underground system, that what you actually need to do is you need to find a business model that works for you. You need to learn from the right person who has done that before and who knows how to teach it. And you need to apply consistency and persistence to make it work. So continually buying shiny objects is none of those things, right? Find a model that you can commit to, find someone to learn it from who's done it before, who knows what they're talking about, can teach it to you, and be consistent and be persistent and make it work. That's the answer. That, my friends, that is the simple way to be successful in building an online business. Now, I'm not just going to leave it there though, because it's not really that simple. It still takes hard work. It still takes a lot of effort. Some people have the constitution to make it just with that, right? So, especially if you have the right mindset, you have a strong why, and you're ready to burn the boats, which I talked about last week, you can, and you really apply yourself, you've got discipline and focus and persistence, you can make that work. It will be difficult though. I'm not going to pull any punches on that. You will fail. You will make mistakes. It will take time and effort and hard work. It's not going to fall in your lap. You need to make it. You really need to apply yourself to work. And many won't get there at all, right? So anything that's hard work, that's difficult to achieve, that's worth achieving, not everyone's going to get there. Many will fail. Even the best courses, the best programs out there that you can do to teach you how to build an online business, they have many failed students, all of them. There's no course that has 100% success rate. In fact, there's no course that even has anywhere close to that because it's not easy, right? But there is an extra step you can take. There is something else you can do that will further stack the odds in your favor. There is another level that you can go to. And this is what I really wanted to talk about. This is what I've learned relatively recently. And this is something that the most successful people use to accelerate their learning and to lift their performance to a higher level. And it is really another form of investing in yourself, right? So shiny object syndrome, if you get stuck in that doom loop of buying shiny objects, you could spend a lot of money, right? Courses aren't cheap, tools aren't cheap. You're going to spend money, and it's going to be expensive for you. But one thing that I've learned is that the most successful people, they also spend money. In fact, they probably spend a hell of a lot more than the people who are stuck in doom loops. The difference is what they spend it on. And this is a mindset shift that I think is really important. They don't buy a bunch of different courses. They don't look for shiny objects. They don't go out there and buy a secret system or a business in a box or any of that sort of stuff. They focus on and invest in developing fundamental skills that are going to drive their business forward. So they don't buy multiple courses. They don't go out there and buy a bunch of different courses. They buy one course and then they invest in coaching to accelerate their learning on that particular course or that particular business model. They don't constantly change models looking for a quick buck, right? None of those systems out there. They pick a model and they go deep on that one model. So what ends up happening is that for a similar level of investment, or as I said before, the most successful people, perhaps a higher level of investment, you can either be mediocre at a bunch of things, or you can be really, really good at one or two things. I'll tell you right now, the people who take the latter option, who go deep and become really, really good at one or two things, they're the people who make it. So I could be okay at Facebook ads. I could be okay at organic marketing. I could be okay at sales. I could be, okay at AdWords. I could be okay at customer service. There's a bunch of things that I could be okay at and spread myself thin across all of that. Or I could focus and I could become really, really good at a couple of things and make those work for me. The rest of it, maybe you can outsource. Maybe you don't need to do it at all, depending on the model you choose. Put it another way, I could be, and I've done this, right? So I'm speaking from experience here. I've done e-commerce. I've done agency work. I've done local lead generation. I'm doing now affiliate marketing. I've done consulting, right? So I have experience with all those models. Am I the best at any of those? Am I the best in the market or the best in the world or even seriously good at any of those? Probably not, because I've spread myself across, I've flipped from one to the other, spread myself across a whole lot of them. And that means that I'm sort of very shallow, but very broad. And what that does is that it makes it very difficult to compete in any one of those, because there's people out there who are doing a lot better than I am. The better way to do it is to pick your model, pick what you're doing, focus on that and become the best in the market or one of the best in the market at it and make it work. That's where the money is. That's where the success is. Not spreading yourself thin across a whole lot of stuff. And it's interesting that this has come up recently because those of you who are active in the group, you'll see that Clubhouse is on the group, is something that's been a topic. A lot of people have come in wanting to get on the Clubhouse invite train, join Clubhouse, because it's the latest thing, right? So people are saying, it's a huge opportunity. It's a new platform, new social media platform. You've got to be on there. You've got to be on there and you've got to be using it to help build your business. What I find really interesting about that is that the same thing was said about TikTok a few months ago. And the same thing was said about Instagram and about Facebook when they first came out, right? And the truth is that there are people who have gone onto Clubhouse and have absolutely killed it, right? Made thousands and thousands, millions of dollars in revenue from getting new followers and building their brand and using Clubhouse. Does that mean that we should all get on it? Well, interesting perspective on this that I'll give you is the founder of SAA, Super Affiliate Accelerator, which is the program that I recommend for affiliate marketers, did a YouTube video on this recently, a few days ago, I think, and said his conclusion is he's not getting on Clubhouse. And for most people, particularly people who are early in their journey, they shouldn't get on Clubhouse either. I listened to a Frank Kern. If you know Frank Kern, he's one of the gurus of the industry. I listened to him on a podcast recently, a couple of days ago, where he said, if people think they're going to go onto Clubhouse and they're going to make $1 million really quickly, they're dreaming. It doesn't happen that way. The reason for that is that the people who are going on there, who are making Clubhouse work, it's part of they've built it into their overall business plan. They've adapted their business plan to make it work, and it makes sense given what they're trying to achieve, right? If we're just jumping on there because it's a shiny new thing and you don't have any plan, it's not congruent with the rest of your business model, then you're just wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. You are far better off focusing on whatever platform makes sense for your business, wherever your customers are, wherever you're establishing your brand already, focus on that, double down on that. Just because Clubhouse is there doesn't mean that Facebook has less than 2 billion users suddenly. It had 2 billion before, it's still got 2, maybe 3 billion, whatever. Those people are still there. You need to focus on what makes sense for your business, not the latest fad. The fact is that people are killing it everywhere, right? Whether it's TikTok, whether it's Clubhouse, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, people are killing it everywhere. And they're not doing it by flipping around from one to the other. And not by trying to make 10 work at once. If you're Frank Kern and you've got a massive team, then maybe you can make 10 channels work. If you're Tony Barrett or someone else who's starting out fairly early in their career and you're working yourself, you're doing all the work yourself, making 10 channels doesn't work. Focus, pick one that works for you, makes sense for your business, and focus on that and make it work. It's as simple as that. Don't worry about whoever's crapping on about how good Clubhouse is. It's not relevant to you. Focus on making your business work. And that's by being really good, becoming best in the market at your particular platform. That's how you build a business. And the very best, they level up even further, right? So not just by focusing on one, but also by continuing to invest in their core model, by continuing to build their underlying skill set, and by having the discipline not to get caught up in whatever the latest fad is, they succeed. They continually level up by continuously investing in their development, direct coaching, high-level masterminds, all that sort of stuff. I mentioned Jacob Karras before. I know that he spent money, he's quite open about this, he spent money on coaching in the last few months, even though he's a 7-figure seller, right? Ian Stanley, who also follow, you guys might have heard of him. He's one of the best copywriters on the planet. I know he's mentioned in some of his videos that he spent some serious money on coaching in the last few months. Particular areas of his business that he wants to develop, wants to focus on, he spent money on one-on-one coaching in those areas. Tanner Chidester is another one who talks about spending 6 figures a year on his own development. These are people who are making literally hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. They're successful online business people, and they're spending far more than you or me would spend on on courses, right? Whatever we spend on courses, if we're in a doom loop and we're mucking around with shiny object syndrome, we're wasting money. They are spending far more, but they're spending it in a much better way. So the insight for me is that people who are successful spend just as much money or more money, but they spend it in a different way. Now, if you're just starting out, right, you're not Ian Stanley or Tanner Chidester or whatever. You don't have the funds that they do to spend on a $100,000 mastermind, right? I get that. The way I think it applies for you and me, is that it goes to using the funds or the resources you have at your disposal to invest in a way that makes sense for you and your business. And some of you might sit there and think, oh, well, SAA, it's not cheap. I have to spend a couple of $1,000s to get into the course anyway, and now you're telling me that I need to spend more money on top of that. I'm not telling you have to, right? So as I said before, if you're focused and motivated and you have a really strong why and the right mindset, you can still make this work. You can still make it work, and people do. What I'm talking about, though, is if you have the resources to be able to go deeper, you will stack the odds in your favor, and you will increase your chances of doing it more successfully and much more quickly by building your understanding, your depth of understanding, and building your depth of knowledge, and really doubling down on that. Assuming in high-ticket affiliate marketing, a couple of sales, and I've got that return back. Just a couple of sales, right? That's the beauty of working in the high-ticket space, is that it only needs to help you make a couple of extra sales, and you've got your money back. And from that point onwards, you've got the skills and you've got the capabilities to make it successful going forward. Also compare it to the other businesses I've been in. The amount that I've spent in the last few weeks on coaching in high-ticket affiliate marketing compared to the amount of money I had to pump into my e-commerce business in inventory. I mean, that was insane. The amount of money in inventory in e-commerce is ridiculous. So it sort of pales in comparison to that. Also compare it to something like paid Facebook ads or paid advertising. You pay for a course, then you have to put money into advertising. People spend thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get paid ad campaigns to work. And once you do that, say you get one working, right? You've spent several $1,000s to get one dialed in and working. Eventually it's going to peter out. Those things never last forever. And then you're almost back to square one. You've got to start again and spend thousands more to dial a new one in. The beauty of focusing on coaching, fundamental skills, doubling down on the model is that you build those fundamental skills in yourself, and then you can deploy them wherever you like and for as long as you like. It's so much more of an investment rather than a cost. So, if you don't have the money, sure, maybe you need to go the harder route, and that's, some people have to do that. If you have the ability, though, to invest in it, then it makes so much more sense. If you like that video, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and make sure you get notified for new videos, which I drop every week. Give us a comment in the comment section. I do read all the comments. I'll reply to any comments that come in, and I would love to see some comments there. And if you want more content like this, then my Facebook group goes into more depth, particularly about the business that I'm building in affiliate marketing. And there's also my website, both of which are linked in the show notes or in the description below. So take a look at those, and I'll see you next time.